Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine and doing very well with your families and you all are safe. Yes, being safe is very important for you and for your family. So students, with that note, let's start our new chapter in this new video, that is chapter number 15 of EVS for standard 5th. And the chapter is blow hot, blow cold. Students, have you ever blow air out of your mouth? So this is a winter season and many times we get a very cold hand. So to make it warm, we use the air out of our mouth to keep them warm. But when we are drinking a hot milk or a hot tea or something hot, again we take out the air out of our mouth to cool down that thing. So what is the difference between the air that is coming out of our mouth in each situation? Any guesses? Okay, so now that we are going to study in this chapter. Blow hot, blow cold. So student, chapter number 15, blow hot, blow cold. So here is a story about a woodcutter. You know what is woodcutter? Yeah, a person who cuts wood is called woodcutter. So there was a woodcutter. Every day in the morning, he used to go to the forest to cut wood. In the evening, he would sell the wood in the city. One day, he went deep into the forest. It was a very cold winter. His fingers were becoming numb. Every now and then, the woodcutter would put down his axe and bring his hands close to his mouth. Then he would blow hard on them to warm them. So here it is about a woodcutter, and what was his work every morning? He used to go to the forest to cut the wood, and in evening he used to sell the wood in the city. So one day when he went deep into the forest, so it was a cold winter, just like now we are having cold winter, right? And his fingers were becoming numb. Numb means soon ho jana. So every now and then the woodcutter would put down his axe, this is the axe, and bring his hand close to his mouth. And he used to blow very hard on them to keep his hands warm. So while he was cutting down, Mian Balishtia was watching him from a corner. This short, small man. Mian Ballistia saw that the woodcutter kept blowing on his hands. He began to wonder what all that was about. But he could not understand it. He got up and thinking that he would go and ask the woodcutter. So now this Mian Bilistian is watching the woodcutter doing all the stuff from a corner, and he is not understanding what's happening, why he is doing that. So out of curiosity, he got up and went there to ask, like, woodcutter, what are you doing? So he got up thinking that he would go and ask the woodcutter. After walking a little, he came back thinking that the woodcutter may not like being asked. So now he hesitated going to woodcutter. Like, what if the woodcutter would not like him asking him this kind of question? So he back off. And finally, Mian Belistia could not help himself. So finally, he cannot keep himself from asking the question, and he went there. He went hopping to the woodcutter and said, "Hello, brother. If you don't mind, can I ask you something?" Seeing this tiny person, the woodcutter was amazed and amused. So, Mian Belistia was a short man, tiny person. So, by saying that tiny person, the woodcutter was amazed and amused. But he hid his smile and said, he was about to smile, he was about to laugh on his height, but he kept himself. He hid his smile and he said, of course, ask what you want to. All I want to ask is, why do you blow from your mouth on your hands? Said Mian Bilistia. As Mian Bilistia got the permission for asking the question from the woodcutter, he asked him, like, why are you blowing from your mouth to your hands? Why do you do that? And the woodcutter replied, it is too cold, my hands are frozen, so I blow on them to warm them up a little. Then, when they get cold again, I warm them again by blowing it. So, the woodcutter said, it's very simple. My hands are frozen from the cold, and because of that, to keep them warm, I am blowing air from my mouth, and again when they are getting cold, they are getting frozen, I'm doing the same procedure. Mian Bilistia nodded. Oh ho, so that's it. Acha, aisa hai. And with that he moved off. He stayed nearby and kept a close watch on him. So now for Mian, the woodcutter is an interesting person, and to know what he does next, he kept his distance, but he stayed nearby and kept a close watch on him. Soon it was afternoon. The woodcutter began to think of a lunch. Now it's a lunchtime. The woodcutter is hungry and he's like, I should make something to eat. He picked up 2 stones and made a chula. So obviously in the woods, like in the forest, if you want to cook something, you have to have something like, yeah. So woodcutter made chula out of 2 stones. He lit a fire and put a small handi pot filled with potatoes to boil. The wood was damp, so the woodcutter bent down and blew on the fire to help it burn. Bilistia was watching him from a distance. Arre! He said to himself, there he goes again, blowing from his mouth. Does fire come out of his mouth? Now Bilistia was like, see, he's blowing again. Is fire coming out of his mouth? The woodcutter was feeling very hungry. He took out a potato from the handi. He tried to eat it, but the potato was too hot. He again began to blow on it. Arre, said Bilistia to himself, he's blowing again. Now what? Is he going to burn the potato? After blowing a few more on it, the woodcutter put it in his mouth and began to eat it. So now, I'm pretty sure that you got to know about the situation. In first situation, the woodcutter blow his hands to keep them warm from the cold. The second time, the woodcutter blow on that small chula to keep more fire, to burn the wood. And in the third situation, the woodcutter is blowing on a potato to make it cold. So now three different situation and he got the one solution. So he is so confused and so amazed, like what is the woodcutter doing? So now Mian was very surprised. He just could not stop himself and off he went hopping to the woodcutter. Now he is so surprised, so amazed, like he cannot keep himself from asking woodcutter again the same question. So he went hopping to the woodcutter. "Hello, brother," he said. "If you don't mind, can I ask you a question again?" So he's like, "Can I ask you a question again, like if you don't mind?" The woodcutter replied, "Not at all. Ask whatever you want." Mian Belistie said, "This morning you told me that you blew on your hands to warm them up. Now you are blowing on this potato, which is already so hot. Why do you want to make it hotter?" So now the Mian couldn't get the point of blowing the hands to keep them warm and blowing the potato to keep it from hot, like to make it cold. So now the woodcutter is like obviously going to give him the answer. "No, no, my little friend, the potato is too hot. I am blowing on it to cool it down." So he asked, like, "Are you blowing on this potato to make it more hot, to make it hotter?" So at that point, woodcutter like, "No, no, 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 my little friend. This potato is too hot to eat, so I'm blowing on it to cool it down." When he heard this, Mian Bilistie's face became white. Now, Mian has nothing to say. He is so amazed. Like he began to tremble with fear. Now he is fearing. He started fearing and started to back away. The woodcutter was a good man. He said, "What's wrong, Mian? Are you trembling because of the cold?" Now the Mian was shivering out of fear, but the woodcutter was a good man. So he asked, like, "What happened? Are you shivering? Are you trembling out of cold? Are you feeling cold? Are you cold?" But Mian Bilistie kept going backwards. When he was a safe distance away, he said to himself, "What kind of a creature is this? Surely he must be a ghost or a jinn." Jinn. You know what is jinn? Yeah, jo hukum mere aaka wala jinn. Blow hot, blow cold with the same breath. It is just not possible. Now he is talking to himself. What kind of creature is this woodcutter? Is he a ghost or a jinn? Blowing hot, blowing for making it hot or warm, blowing it to make it cold with the same breath from the same air coming out of the mouth. It is just not possible. That's right. There are same things which just cannot be, but they are. So this story is by Zakir Hussain. Now do this. Mia Bilistie was confused when he saw the woodcutter blowing on his cold hands to make them warm and on the hot potatoes to cool them. Have you warmed your hands in winter by blowing on them when they are cold? How does it feel? So now, students, I would like you to have your hands to your mouth and please blow out the hot air from your mouth. Does it feel good? Okay. So blow hard from your mouth onto your hands. How did you find the air from your mouth as compared to the air around? Was it hotter or cooler? So now just look around the air surrounding you. I'm pretty sure it's cold air. So now please blow the hot air from your mouth again and answer me. How does it feel? The air that is coming out from your mouth compared to the air around you, it has difference, right? Now put your hands at same distance from your mouth and blow again. Does the air from your mouth feel warm? Why? Please do it. Think and tell. Can you think of any other way in which you use the warmth from your breath? Yeah, obviously. So here is a small activity. Take a piece of cloth, fold it 3 to 4 times. Now bring it close to your mouth and blow hard on it. Did the cloth become warm? Yes? So now put that to your skin and feel it. Does it feel cold or hot? That means warm. Bilestia saw that the woodcutter was trying to cool the hot potatoes on blowing on them. What would have happened if he had eaten the hot potatoes without cooling them? Obviously, the answer is as clear as the crystal. If woodcutter have eaten that hot potatoes, he would have burned his mouth. Right? Have you ever burnt your tongue when you ate or drank something that was too hot? Did you? I did. Yes, I did. How do you cool some food when it is too hot? So when you're having hot soup, hot milk, tea or something very hot, how do you cool it down? Yeah, by blowing it from a distance, like, right? If you were to cool these 3 hot things like dal, roti, rice, in which way would you do so? So here we are having 2 pictures. Picture number 1. Minnie tried to cool her tea by blowing on it. Which do you think will be hotter, Minnie's tea or the air she blew from her mouth? Obviously the tea, because the tea is hot and that's why Minnie is blowing out to make it cool. And picture number 2, Sonu was feeling very cold. He kept blowing on his hands. Now think and write which will be cooler, Sonu's hand or his breath. Please do this. What is cooler, your hand or your breath? Yes, your hands. And here Sonu's hands is cooler than his breath. Okay, so for what other things do you blow air from your mouth? So here is a small activity again. Make a paper whistle. Whistle means city. Take a paper of 12 cm long and 6 cm wide. Fold the paper into half as seen in picture number 1. Tear it off a little in the center to make a small hole as shown in picture 2. From both the sides, fold the paper upwards like this. Make wings from that paper. Hold the paper between your fingers, put it to your mouth. Blow on it and hear the whistle. Whose whistle was harder? Yours or your friend's? Blow gently and also blow hard and make different sounds from it. Blow in different ways. Make whistles of the things given below. Write in a sequence from the loudest to the lowest and the softest whistle. Wrapper of a toffee, a leaf, a balloon, the cap of a pen, in other things. So this, from out of these things, you have to do this experiment. You have to try whistling and you have to write which sounds the loudest and the softest. Have you seen people playing different musical instruments like flute, dholak, bean, guitar, mirdang, etc.? Can you recognize this sound with your eyes closed? Find out more about these sounds instruments. Collect their pictures too. Right. Can you name some things which produce melodious or pleasing sounds when we blow on them? There are many things. You just have to think and please do right. So do this and discuss. Have you seen someone blowing on their spectacles to wipe them clean? How does the air from the mouth help in cleaning the spectacles? Number 2, take a glass, bring it to your mouth and blow hard on it. Do this 2 or 3 times. Does the glass look hazy or foggy? Just do it and see it yourself. Can you make a mirror hazy in the same way? Yes or no? Can you tell by touching the mirror what made it hazy? Is the air you blow from your mouth dry or wet? Put your hand on your chest. When you breathe in, does your chest come out or go in? Do it yourself. Breathe in and see. Does your chest come out or go in? Measure your chest. Take a deep breath in. Ask your friend to measure your chest with a thread and write down the measurement. How many centimeters? Now breathe out. Again ask your friend to measure your chest and write down the measurement. Was there any difference in the 2 measurements of your chest? Yes or no? How many breaths in 1 minute? Put your finger under your nose. Can you feel any air when you breathe out from your nose? Do it. Can you feel any air when you breathe out from your nose? Yes or no? Count how many times in 1 minute do you breathe in and breathe out. So count it yourself. Jump 30 times. Okay, this is another activity. Jump 30 times, like 1, 2, 3, 4 to 30 times. Did you feel breathless? Now again count how many times in 1 minute you breathe in and out. What was the difference in your count before and after jumping? Okay, so the next topic is the clock inside you. What? The clock inside us? Do we have a clock inside our body? Let's see. Have you all heard the tick tick of the clock? Yes or no? Yes. Have you seen a doctor using a stethoscope to listen to our chest? Have you been to your doctor? Yes. Have you experienced like a doctor is using stethoscope to count your breathing, to feel your heartbeat? What do you think she or he hears? Where is the sound coming from? Is there a clock inside your chest that keeps ticking away? Do you want to listen to your heartbeat? Okay, then take a rubber tube as long as the distance from your shoulder to your elbow, and one end of the tube fix a funnel like this. Place the funnel on the left side of your chest. Put the other end of the tube to your ear. Listen carefully. Did you hear a thuk thuk sound? Now, you know what, students? Snake tails the flows of air. For this, take a round paper 15 to 16 centimeter wide. Cut this paper in a spiral shape as shown in the picture number 1. Same like a snake. Now, to hold this snake, tie a thread on both sides. Tie a knot or a button to make it hang. Now the snake is ready to move. Hang the snake near a hot thing. For this you can take hot tea, water or a burning candle. But I suggest you to do this experiment around your elders, okay? Don't do it alone and hurt yourself. Now see from the top in which direction the snake moves. Whenever the air flows upward, it will move in a clockwise direction. When the air flows downwards, the snake will move in the opposite direction, that is anti-clockwise. Stand with the snake, blow a fan, look in which direction it moves. Take this paper snake to different places and observe its movement and write it down. Now, can you understand from the movement of the snake if the air is moving upwards or downwards? Okay, so what we have learned. While playing, Amit hit a wall. His forehead was swollen. Didi immediately folded a scarf 4 to 5 times, blew on it and kept it on Amit's forehead. Why do you think Didi did this? We blow to cool hot things as well as to warm them. Give examples of each. So this is it for today's video, and the chapter number 15, blow hot, blow cold, ends here. And in this chapter we learn that the same breath that comes out of our mouth helps to keep things cool and to keep them hot. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked it. And let's meet in our next video with a new chapter. Till then, stay home, stay safe. Bye.